FedEx St. Jude, we are halfway through. We have Ben Everill on site. Ben, how is it going down there?
It's going great, Matty. The halfway house. It's great to have it back. You and me ready to talk some odds and some interesting scenarios that could happen over the next 36 holes. It's been sweltering. It's been hot and swampy out here, but chances are, because we've got tee times moved, we're going to get a storm in the morning, and I think that could give you some opportunities as bettors out there. So we'll go through that in a minute, right, Matty?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I remember last year it was absolutely gross hot down there, and the last two rounds were very hot. So I feel like the players are going to appreciate that storm coming in too. Definitely going to change things. If we're looking at the outright market, so you see these guys up top, is there anyone you're touching right now for outright? Are you avoiding outrights entirely on the live market?
Matty, you hit the nail right on the head there. Because of Scotty Scheffler, now we'll have a look at those who don't know. We've got Hideki Matsuyama at the top. We've got Denny McCarthy there tied for the lead. But Scheffler's only two back, like the plus 180 or something ridiculous favourite. It scares me to get involved because obviously we know how good he's been going. He's most likely going to have another crack and win another tournament here. But 180 is a number I'm not going to touch, especially when you've got a potential storm. That will bring a potential preferred lies. So we're going to have lift plan in place. And that means a huge premium needs to go on driving accuracy if that happens. If it doesn't happen, then we've got a different scenario all over again. So you've got to hold back out of that market, in my understanding, until you know exactly what weather hits tomorrow morning. With Scheffler there, I don't think you can sort of dive in anywhere. You might want to take an outlier. You might want to go for some value. There's some out there. I know that you have a guy that you think can maybe have a run. But to me, Hideki is a good chance to win this thing. I'm worried about the storm for him. If his drive accuracy is off, he's going to be in the wet rough. That's a problem. If it doesn't rain, I still give Hideki a chance against Scheffler. If it does rain, I think Sheff might get it done.
See, I think there is actually value, as crazy as it sounds like, in the outright market, and I think it is on Scotty. I mean, plus 180 through two rounds, sure. Everyone's going to look at that and say, ooh, that's not a great number. It's actually not that bad of a number. He was plus 360 before the week started, and we're seeing him now in a position with absolutely no one near him. Hideki is the only person near him that actually scares me a little bit, and guess what? He does not scare me at all, and I'll tell you why. He is putting the lights out this week. He is not a good putter. Hideki Matsuyama is a bad putter. He's 136 on tour this season, strokes gained putting. He is number one in the field this week, getting over 5 strokes gained on the greens right now putting. That is not going to last. That is not what Hideki Matsuyama does. So when you take him out of it, it's Scotty versus what? Denny McCarthy? There's no one really up top right now near Scotty Scheffler. You got Hideki Matsuyama and Sam Burns. I mean, like, what are we doing here? It's Scotty's. It's Scotty's tournament right now.
Mate, I'll say this about Sam Burns. If it doesn't rain, he's the Bermuda Burns. He's the specialist. He could make a run, right? If he can putt well because it's not wet. But if it gets wet, I'm a little worried his drive is a little lax. It's going to go sideways. It's going to have a few dramas in that regard. If it doesn't rain, he's a chance, maybe.
I don't like him. He's a choke. He's a choke. Burns is a choke. And I love Burns. You know that. I took him back at the waist. I took him for like 3 weeks outright. He's a choke, man. And I'm not going to be out here taking him at the FedEx St. Jude playoff event in Memphis to win versus Scotty. What if it's Scotty and Burns in the final group and they have the same stroke? Who you take? What's going to happen there?
Scotty's going to throw his best mate Burnsy a win. That's what's going to happen.
He's not going to throw a win at all.
It's going to go, oh, you just had a baby. I know what that's like. Here you go, buddy. Here you go. I don't need the win. I'll take second.
If that happens, I'm writing an article that collusion happened and that Scotty threw that because it would be something. No, it's certain to say. I mean, Sam Burns has been playing fantastic. 3 under round 1, 7 under round 2. I just can't trust him.
I'll say this. If he gets in the final group, or if he gets in on a Sunday group with Scheffler, I actually think that helps his chance to win. I really do. I think if Burns gets in a group with Scheffler in the final round, he's more chance of winning in that scenario than if he's not with Scheffler because he'll be comfortable. We know he's had issues closing in recent times, but maybe with Scheffler he'll feel more at ease. He won't feel as much outside noise and pressure, and perhaps he can do it. And plus, if he makes a mistake, you can imagine Scotty patting him on the back and saying, "You're good, man. You're good. Keep going." So
These guys not be patting him on the back. They're not gonna be best friends in the middle of the round. This is the playoffs, Ben.
We'll see. We'll see. He's a chance as well. And usually I'm off Burns. And I said it at the start of the week on our roundtable when Jason Sobel said the lock of the week was him to finish in the top 20. Well, I think Sobel can almost catch that ticket. I mean, we never know with all the water out here, but he can almost catch that ticket. So, look, it's good to see Burnsy playing well. Whether or not he keeps it going for 2 rounds, we'll have to wait and see.
Let's talk about guys who are hungry, and those guys are in the placement markets. You're looking at someone who is very hungry in the placement markets, correct?
Yeah, mate, I got the guy who won last week.
Yeah.
Aaron Rye. He's like 7-1 for a top 5. I really like it if it rains. Okay, so when it rains and when we get lift, clean, and place, you can't tell me the difference between having a guy who can pick up the ball, clean it, put it exactly where he wants it, isn't going to have a huge advantage of someone who's in the wet, sticky rough with the mud. It's going to be exponentially bigger issue if it rains. Driving accuracy then becomes the number one factor in tomorrow's round. Well, guess who's tied first this week so far in driving accuracy? Aaron Rye. Guess who's second on tour all year in driving accuracy? Aaron Rye. Guess who was the big mudder in my column last week? Guys who win or play well in the wet. Who do we highlight? Aaron Rye, and he ended up winning on to win. Right?
Yeah.
So Aaron Rye is a mudder. If it happens to rain, Aaron Rye is great value to storm up this leaderboard and potentially be a top 5 pick. If you think top 5 is a bit tough because of the number of guys up there, you're still getting plus money top 10. Aaron Rye, if it rains, to me, is a sensational option to look at.
I mean, he's T13 right now at 5 under, so he is absolutely within range. I mean, he's also within range of winning. I mentioned Xander at the same position, 5 under, 6 strokes back. So if you're getting plus money at T10 and plus 700 for T5, the only thing that scares me there is Aaron Rye a name? Is he a name yet? This is the playoffs, Ben. This isn't the Wyndham. This is the playoffs. He's playing amongst the best players in the world. I don't know if he has it. So the guy I'm going to look at the placement market is a guy who showed he has it. I like Victor Hovland a lot, and for the same reason is that he needs this. Plus 190 for a T5. He is 57th in the FedEx Cup entering the week. He is now 43rd, which gets him into next week. I mean, reigning FedEx Cup champion, he's got to respect his name, and he shot 7 under today. I like the stones he has. He showed us that he can still find his game at some point. And plus 190 for a T5 where he is right now, I think that's a really good bet. He needs it more than anyone, or just as much as anyone.
Well, let me say this to you, Matty. I spoke to Victor Hovland after his round today.
Okay.
And the reason I spoke to him after his round today is because this is mirroring what he did last year. He had a really terrible, poor range session in the lead up to this event last year. I went on these podcasts and everywhere else and said, get off him. He was struggling on the range. He sucks. He is so mad at his game. He's terrible. And he went out and had a poor first round. And I was sitting there, chest out. I told you guys he's hopeless. And then round 2, had a good round. Had a good last 2 rounds as well. Finished somewhat in the mix without winning. Went on and won the BMW and won the Tour Championship. So today I asked him, Victor, deja vu, we're getting this? And let me see if I can find what he had to say for you, mate. He was not super confident.
History repeats itself, it sounds like.
He said, I'd like to think so, i.e. that the synergy is the same, but I don't think this situation is exactly the same as last year, even though it looks like it. Where my golf swing kind of feels, I know I still have the misses are out there, and I can feel them, and I'm worried about them. It's not as close as it was last year after that rain session, and after that I felt like things were clicking. I got off to a nice start today. I had kind of got some momentum. I was over ride last year. This year we still have a little bit of extra work to do. I felt like we had to lean on my putter maybe a little bit too much today. I do feel like my game is getting more and more consistent. I can step up and hit a lot of fairways, but I'm not quite exactly where I was a year ago. Hopefully I can keep it going, but not necessarily confident. So
I do not love that. Those are not good.
So with that is like, honestly, I could be completely wrong, but if I was going to fade a guy that's in the top 10, it would actually be, well, Denny McCarthy because of the injury and he's at the top, but also Victor Hovland would have gone next fade, just based on talking with him and knowing him a little. But then again, saying that, last year I couldn't have been more confident to fade that guy. I could not have been more confident, and he went on not only to play well, but win the whole thing.
I mean,
So it's in there.
Victor, if you don't like Victor either, I mean, he did get the easy draw today. He was early morning. He
Yeah.
attacked those pins. I mean, he's not going to have that obviously tomorrow. He's going to be a later tee time. It makes sense. I get your point. I just really think the position that he's in, former FedEx Cup champion, and not making it to BMW.
Yeah, he needs to make it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would be embarrassing. It'd be frankly a little
embarrassing
if he didn't make it to BMW.
I'm going to try to look it up right now and see where he is projected, because he's predicted to move in. He's predicted to move to 43rd.
Yep.
Right.
And
yeah. So 43rd.
Yeah.
43rd, starting even in tie for 7th. It shows you that he has to stay there.
Yeah.
So you're right. If he doesn't stay in the top 10, it's season over, lights out, see you later. So that motivation should hopefully keep him in it. And maybe if he does have a bit of a slow start, he'll at least have the motivation to not let it fly off the handle. We saw a couple of guys who started poorly today that needed it. Jordan Spieth is one that comes to mind. Once it started to go away from him, he kind of just let it go. Right? He didn't have it, so he was done with it. I hope that Victor can stay stronger than that. The first 3 holes, by the way, out here, guys, if you haven't noticed, everybody birdies the first 3 holes. That's where it is. So,
it seems like it.
Don't get too excited if someone starts that hot. Hopefully they're making a run, but the harder part of the course is to come. The back 9 has most of the water. That's where you've got to survive. Honestly, if your player doesn't birdie 2 of the first 3 holes, you're in trouble. So make sure that even on that and in your live betting markets as well, that's where you can maybe hammer birdie on this hole for a player you like, etc. First 3 holes is where that's at. And then let the carnage begin. And that also, too, is something that may potentially hurt Scotty Scheffler, is that one swing is a double bogey here rather than, a par save or a bogey. Again, if his mind's not 100% locked in, that's the potential that a big swing can happen, right? But things like that can happen. I did have a laugh. We spoke, I won't mention the person by name, but someone was in a big matchup, had, was it Sungjae Im versus Shane Lowry on the round 2 matchup today. Im was leading by 1 shot on the 18th tee, pumped his ball into the water, and then Lowry, just to really dig the knife in from the fairway bunker, hold it out for eagle to steal the head-to-head match. And if
Shane
that's not
Lowry. Classic.
Shane Lowry classic. So those are the sort of things, though. Your head-to-head markets, it's volatile, man. If you can get some underdogs out there, have a crack at it, because that can be some fun. You're not dead till the end.
And to your point, with weather coming in, you're going to have to score. So next market we're going to look at, which is actually very interesting, if you're looking at the nationality markets, top Englishmen. All the Englishmen are playing fantastic right now. And it's completely up for grabs, the group that we have right now. So we have Justin Rose. He's the favorite at plus 120. He's T5, 8 under. Then it goes down to your man, Aaron Rai, plus 300. He's T13 at 5 under. Then down to Fleetwood, plus 360. He's at T20 at 4 under. And then lastly, Matt Fitzpatrick at plus 400, even though he's a stroke above Fleetwood at that 5 under range with Aaron Rai. Completely up for grabs, only a couple strokes between all of them, and Justin Rose, the favorite, at plus 120 for top Englishman. Who do you like out of that group?
Well, let me just say this too. I talked about driving accuracy, right, and how important that is. Let's have a look at through 36 holes here, where the rankings of those 3 guys are so far in this tournament.
Okay.
Well, there's a three-way tie for first. Matt Fitzpatrick, Tommy Fleetwood, and Aaron Rai.
Here we go.
Tied first in driving accuracy. And guess what? T4, Justin Rose is right behind them, T4. Wow. They are the best drivers in the field this week.
That's crazy.
Right? So if it does rain, that is the stat that matters. It mattered before it rained here on this course because it's easier to come in from the fairway than it is from the rough out here. But add the rain and live clean in place, it makes this battle even more exciting, even more crazy.
Just because you said that, maybe look at Great Britain and Ireland. DraftKings has Great Britain and Ireland.
Yeah.
Fade those Irish guys and take English guys who can drive the ball.
That's it, 100%. It's crazy. Now, so because they're all doing so well this week, when I was trying to pick which guy of all of them that I thought might carry it all the way, and the reason I got to Aaron Rai as well is because, as I said, he's second on tour all year when it comes to driving accuracy, right? And if you look at the other guys, Fleetwood is an option. don't count him out. He's 9th on tour, right? So those two are the top guys. But outside the top 50 on the season are Fitzpatrick and Rose. So for me, I wanted to go between Fleetwood and Rye. I'm giving Rye the leg up because he's a mutter. We proved it last week. He's got the momentum. But if I was really looking at a bet, I'd go top 5 Rye, top 10 Tommy Fleetwood.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, looking at this list, Tommy Fleetwood was a guy who I considered very seriously to win this thing outright pre-week. Didn't do it. Now kind of kicking myself a little bit, even though he's not at the top, but he's near the top. He's having a pretty good week. So in this group, I would definitely look at Tommy. I wouldn't touch Justin Rose at plus 120. Not necessarily that I think he's going to fall out of it completely, but I trust these other guys to come attack. Aaron Rye at 300 is decent. I think we both agree neither of us are touching Fitzpatrick, though, sadly. Even though he's around the same range, he's tied with Rye at 5 under, and he's a stroke ahead of Fleetwood. Fitzy hasn't done much for me lately. I can't trust him.
Hasn't been in the mix at all much since I can remember. Took a 5 under round today as well to get to 5 under, right? So he had a good day today. I'm not necessarily certain that means that he's in good form for the week. Whereas we know Rye's in form. We know Fleetwood just won an Olympic medal. We've got reasons to like the other guys ahead of him. He could prove us wrong for sure, but I'm not ready to trust him. And I'm not necessarily sure he's going to turn up in the mud like the other two have in the past, as I said. Again, now, of course, what's going to happen that we've talked about this ad nauseum, Matty, is the storm is going to miss the area. It's not going to do it. It's going to get straight past. And it's going to be just dry as a bone and still hot out here. And then Scheffler probably is just going to streak everyone and go away with this thing. But again, so I'm not saying everyone run off now, at night time and put those bets on. I'm saying get up in the morning, check the weather, check what's happened, get the latest from the area, and then make your choices.
Yeah, I'm saying get those bets in on Scottie Scheffler. Absolutely. I love him in this position right now. Last thing before we close out, and I just want to ask this because we all know your history with Scottie and how you don't trust him all the time, and there's something there. If this spot was switched with Xander, if Xander was in the same exact spot as Scottie is in right now, and Scottie was in Xander's spot at 5 under, same odds, same number, would you take Xander at plus 180?
Not 180. No, I wouldn't take anyone at plus 180 in this position. Again, going back to what I said, I think there's too much time. Okay. I think honestly, you've missed the boat, right? We've talked about this ad nauseum. We talked about this.
He was plus 360 to win pre-tournament. What
yes,
boat are you
correct.
talking about?
No, but he wasn't. Listen. Earlier today, and we had this argument, right? I faded plus 250 odds last night.
Yes.
What I'm saying to people is, pick a number that you want to get on Scheffler, and when it hits that, you jump on it. He drifted out before he started today. He got to 400 today. He was 400 before he started. That's when you have a decision.
You're jumping on another miracle. He's not going to pull off an Olympics win like he did last time coming back.
You don't, Matty, I know we all love a punt out there, but you do not have to bet the outright market every week, right? You do not have to do it. There are so many things. You do not have to bet the outright favorite in a year like this, right? When Tiger Woods was winning everything at starting the tournament at plus 120, that's a dumb bet. I'm sorry. Even though he won 9 times, it's a dumb bet because he didn't win every time, right? It's not the smart move. You have to figure out what your Scheffler number is. For me, it's 10. It's 1,000 plus. It's 10 to 1, right? So I'm prepared to not pick him as the winner. Miss out on the 350. Miss out on the 450.
You're not going to get him 10 to 1 all playoffs. Unless
the playoffs is different.
You're not going to get him 10 to 1.
Yeah. Don't pick him.
Don't pick him. I want Scottie, and I completely agree with you. This whole time I've been on the same side of you. I don't advocate terrible numbers. However, he was plus 360 before the week started, and he's only halved that halfway through. And I would argue this is a way better position to be confident in Scottie. There is no one near him. He is the only one up top. Do not be scared of Hideki Matsuyama. He's putting out of his mind. He's not a good putter. And then there's Denny McCarthy. Then there's Justin Rose. There's no one near this leaderboard. It is Scottie's to lose, and you're still getting plus 180. Not that big of a difference from plus 360 week before the tournament. So I actually do advocate this outright number right now because it's actually a good number for the situation that he's in right now.
Who won last year? Who won here last year? Do you know? Do you remember?
Yeah, Will Zalatoris.
It was Lucas. No, Lucas Glover.
Zalatoris was the year before.
Lucas Glover.
Yeah.
Guess who was in?
He was
Guess who was in the mix? Hovland, Rory, Rory, etc. Yeah. Guess what? Guess what? My point is, what happens at this golf course? Now, if we were next week, same scenario, I might say, yeah, take the 180.
Okay.
But we're in a place where one swing, there is 7,000 balls in the water here since 2003, the most on tour. There is danger in this course.
There is.
Which makes it not valuable to take that number. Right? He will probably win. I'm telling you right now. He will probably win. But I don't care.
Probably wins. You got plus 180, and that's a pretty good.
180. Good, 180 with 36 holes to go.
That's a good underdog. In a normal baseball, football game, plus 180 is a decent number. That's what we do.
There's 69 other guys here.
Scotty
69. There's not one team.
For a reason. We're going to sign off. Get your live bets in. If you don't want the outright market, avoid it because there's other places to look. But it is the playoffs here for the FedEx St. Jude. Stay cool out there, Ben, in Memphis.
No worries, mate. See you next time.